could you really grow up to be just like God?
Just like your dad.
Exactly.
Right?
How simple. But it can't be. We've been taught it can't be.
No,
So it can't,
he's different.
yeah, he's
His
different.
thoughts his thoughts are not our thoughts, and
His
all
ways
that.
are our ways. Oh gosh.
You know what just popped in? You know what? We'd have to look at that verse, but people take that and say his thoughts are not like our thoughts, and our thoughts are not like his thoughts. And what they mean, from every way I've ever heard it and understood it, is that we think right and he thinks crazy. But maybe that verse is saying we think crazy and he thinks right. You know the verse I'm talking about, right?
Vaguely. I
Let
do. Let
me,
me.
yeah, I'm going to look it up. His thoughts and his ways and all that. His thoughts are not our thoughts. Let me go
Yeah.
to, it's Isaiah 55 8. Isaiah 55 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And we always take that and say it's ununderstandable. God told us we can't get him. But maybe what he's saying is you absolutely can get me and you can come up with me, but you're not thinking like that. You're thinking that you're thinking I got to kill that guy to get what he has. And you're thinking I got to rob that person and I got to lie about this person so I look better or whatever. And he there is a distinction between our thoughts, but it's not saying his thoughts are unattainable. It's saying our thoughts are way off of his. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me look at this.
Yeah.
You know, this is like a well duh to me. Um, God is not. It's a plain statement of fact.
Yeah.
He's already told them the way they're thinking.
Yeah.
And he says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts." He's not saying that our thoughts can't be his thoughts.
Right.
He's just telling us a statement of fact. The
Yeah.
way I think is not the way you think, and the way that I do is not the way you do. And as high as the heaven is from the earth, so my ways are so much higher. My thoughts are so much higher than yours. He's telling them, he's just told them, let the wicked forsake his way and the unrighteous man his thoughts. He's already told them, you're thinking bad, your ways are wrong. And
Mhm.
he's saying, compared to me, your thoughts are real low.
Yeah.
But gosh, that has been totally misunderstood, because I've heard people say, well, we can't think the way God thinks. Our thoughts, oh my God, I don't even know. This is overwhelming to me.
I know.
Um,
That's so
This,
crazy.
this is not the way they've taken it. The way I've
No.
ever heard anybody take it. God is not telling us we can't think like Him. That His ways are so far above us that we will never be like that. That's not what God's saying.
No.
He's
I know, and I'm looking at the rest of it here, and it's confirming what we just figured out. It's seek the Lord while he may be found. Where was this on spending? He said something about spending. He said, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. You who have no money, come buy and eat. Yes, come buy wine and milk without money, without price. Why do you spend money for what is not bread, and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in abundance. Incline your ear and come to me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you. But my
Man,
thoughts are not your thoughts. They're different. They're above. You can't get it.
that's what they say. Yeah, you can't get
Yeah,
it.
you
I mean,
can't
that's
get it.
the implication.
When bad stuff happens, it's because God is doing something that you just don't understand. And he's evil and sick and cruel to our
For those,
eyes
yeah.
because we don't get that he looks at it different. And that's just not doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right to me. According to this.
Yeah, and until now, had not realized um, what God was saying with this verse because I haven't looked at this verse in years.
Yeah, it's the Old
But he's
Testament,
definitely,
kind of dusty.
yeah, pardon?
Kind of a dusty old verse.
Yeah,
It's one that you get in your head and you just don't even think about again. Because why do you? I get it. He doesn't think like me. I don't have to look at that again. Right?
he's telling us we can think like him.
Yeah.
Our ways can be like his,
Yeah.
and he's calling us up, higher up and higher in.
Yeah.
He's not telling us we can't. He's telling us we can, but we aren't.
But that, yes. We can, but we aren't. And he said, come on,
Wow.
listen, I'm telling it to you. That's what we do with our kids. That's what I did with my son in that example where I said, I was telling him something, and it was something about, it was something very, usually in an example like that, it's clean your room, quit smoking dope, or whatever. But I was telling him something about how great he was. I love him, and I was
Yeah.
just so floored by him and impressed by him. And he was like, "Yeah, but I'm not impressive. No, you're wrong, Dad. You don't think that about me because it's not true. I can't think it about myself because it's not true." And then and I don't remember the exact thing that I was saying to him, but I was, telling him something that was meant to lighten his load, not add more onto it. And he wasn't hearing it. And then somebody else said something that was kind of like it, and then somebody else said something kind of like it, and it finally he goes, "Oh my gosh, my dad is telling me I'm not a failure, or I'm not a screw up, or I'm not." And it couldn't get in. It couldn't get in there because there was too much garbage, blocking it. And well, I am a piece of garbage. How can he tell me I'm not? That's he's lying, you know? And
Yeah.
so yeah, I was calling him up. I was going, "No, man, come on. You're so great. You're better than this thing, or this belief about yourself, or this way you're feeling like you're a disappointment, or whatever it was." I was like, it was a very encouraging kind of thing that I was trying to give to him, and he couldn't take. A lot of times parents are trying to give their kids more baggage, unfortunately. Not on purpose. Parents, I'm a parent, you're a parent, we think that kind of beating our kids up is this way to improve them. And we won't go into all the psychology of that, but because there's times you got to call stuff out and say, "Hey, that's not okay." But
Yeah.
the reason it's not okay is because you're better, because you're
Yeah.
more valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're having a conversation.
Yep.
Um, and it's a conversation about things that people think about, but they don't ever say.
Yeah. And nobody says.
Nobody says.
Because how do you, yeah, I mean, yeah, somebody throws that verse out in church. Well, his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And you just go, okay, well, then I guess I shouldn't try to aspire to them or bother trying to understand them, because what difference does it make? It's not going to make any sense. And it doesn't. And that lines
Yeah.
up with what people think. They see bad stuff
Yes.
happen, they feel bad stuff, they're sad, they're angry, whatever, and they go, well, God must have an answer, but I'm just not going to get it because his thoughts are too high. I'm not going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That the last few seconds is really important. What you just said. It's spot on. Um, pe- People need, if people just knew who they were, everything would turn overnight because they would realize that the things you're saying, well, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's we really can learn to think like God. We can learn to live like God. That was his intention.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus came
Yeah.
to teach us, to show us that man can live like God.
Yeah.
Everybody says, well, Jesus was divine. He was God, and that's what makes him different. So
Mhm.
he was different from us. And so, we should be, and we're supposed to be just like Jesus, but we never will be able to be,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
I was taught that you're to be like Jesus. You're to live like Jesus,
Right.
but you can't. You can't.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, we were born just like Jesus was born.
Yeah.
And there's no difference between us and Jesus except that he's the head and I'm a member of the body.
Yeah.
I mean, my head is me. This is me.
Yeah.
But this is me too.
Yeah.
And this is me too. And this is me too. And this is me too. It's all me.
Hmm.
And one part's not better than another part.
Yes.
Jesus is not better than you and me.
Right.
Jesus is not better than anybody that is inside him. He's
How
not
how
he's not
dare
better.
you? That's blasphemy. Right?
And if that's
How
what
how
if people
dare
want
you
to
say
believe,
that we're like Jesus or he's not better than us? Of course he's better than us. He's not. He's a guy. He's a guy. He's a guy who stubbed his toes and smacked his thumb with a hammer and
yeah,
and felt frustrated. You see it in the Bible. His buddies come and they go, "Hey, is this what you meant?" And he's like, no, I mean, nice try. Good, good. I hear your heart, but no, that's not what I meant. And he felt frustrated and he felt he was a guy, but he wasn't taken over by it and consumed with it where he gave up on his guys or whatever. He just he was a guy and we're we're so quick to think of him or anybody else from the Bible as not a guy. Like, they're guys, they're dudes. They were just dudes who were just walking around, didn't know what they were doing some of the time, and were waiting to get, maybe a new door open to them, whatever. And then you see it in the disciples afterwards, after Jesus' resurrection and ascension and all that. He was like, I mean, they were just kind of fumbling around for a while. They were like, well, I mean, I guess we gotta, we want to tell people this guy changed us. They can change others. So I guess we do that. And then, yeah, they were all guys. They were just guys, regular people, all of them. They were regular
you
people.
know, I think it's First John 4:16 that says that as he is, so we are in this world.
Hmm.
And if we're going to take God literally, that is pretty close to accurate translation. It's just the syntax is we translators change the syntax. They put words in different order, but it says the same thing in the Greek.
Hmm.
Um, and the thing is that as he is, well, how is Jesus? Think about however Jesus is in any way, capacity, whatever that you can think of. We are the same. So, is there any way that we are that Jesus isn't? Is there any way we aren't that Jesus is?
Right.
And you begin to, I mean, you can't, if unless God is a liar,
Right.
then everything that is true of Jesus is true of us.
Yeah.
That's what that is saying.
And that's
So
terrifying,
what
but that's okay.
that's, well, people can't handle that. I mean,
Yeah.
that immediately, when you put it in that language, and a lot of people scream heresy and things like that,
Right.
but that's what God said. I didn't make that up.
Right.
It's right there in the Greek,
Yeah.
and the English is says the same thing.
Yeah.
That as he is, however he is, I am too. Well, how can that be?
Right.
Because I'll tell you, from based on appearance, that isn't true.
Right.
Based on appearance, that's not true. As he is, because I have some issues of sickness in my body.
Right.
He has no sickness in his body.
Right.
Well, wait a minute, then that contradicts the verse, because the verse says, as he is, so am I. So as he is healed, so am I.
Mhm.
But he's healthy because he rose from the dead, and I've got sickness. So how do I resolve that conflict? I mean, that to me is major.
Yeah.
That is major. If he is sick, if he is healthy, then I must be healthy, but my body says I'm not. If he is righteous, then I must be righteous, or the Bible, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
But Paul said that we were, let's see, what is it? Of God are we in Christ Jesus, who of God is made unto us wisdom, righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. Wait a minute. He was made unto us righteousness. How could that be? Because I'm in him, and his righteousness is my righteousness. I don't have anything else but righteousness. I do not have wrongness in me.
Right.
I have righteousness because he is my righteousness. And you can do that with the rest of it. To me, it's so amazing. But we've got to resolve the question. Then, if the Bible says this, why is our experience otherwise? We're going to get into that, because I understand that perfectly.
Oh boy.
I understand how that works. That my God can say this about me, and if God says it about me, then it must be true. Because
Right.
God would not lie about me. He
Yeah.
would not say things about me that are not true. So if God says I am healed, and my body says I am not healed, there's got to be a solution. What is wrong? What is causing me to have a different experience than what God says is my experience? And God is saying, it is my experience that I am healed. That's what God says. He doesn't lie. Yet my body says I'm sick. I've got to have an answer to that. And the world, they just freak out at that question. Nobody knows what to do with that question, except to say, well, you're spiritually healed and all sorts of things that aren't real. So somehow they convert that you're healed, but it's not real, but it is real. Don't question that it's real, but it's really not real yet. It will be real when Jesus comes again and saves you. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought I was already saved. What we are knowing and what we are believing
Mm-hmm.
create our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And what we expect determines what we see and don't see, feel and don't feel, hear and don't hear, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Take the guy standing on the corner. We've all seen him. And he's military, former military, standing on the corner, begging. And the guy is suffering from PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
The world that he sees standing on that corner is the same world we see, but what he sees is not what we see.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
He's his paradigm, his mind is processing everything he's seeing in such a way that the result is he's not seeing what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
He's still seeing that somebody could be around the corner and going to try to kill him,
Yeah.
shoot him,
Yeah.
or maybe he's seeing that he's there on the corner begging for money, but he's still seeing his buddy blowing up in front of him.
Yeah.
Um, it could be someone who not were military, but they were they suffered some sort of a trauma,
Yeah.
and they're still living that trauma while they're living in this reality, and so they've got a mixed reality that creates that they have created in their own mind um, a reality that doesn't exist except for them.
Yeah.
Um, and that is true of every one of us. We've
Yeah.
had experiences in life, maybe traumas. I know I've had some terrible traumas,
Mm-hmm.
and those things can stay with you forever
Yeah.
if you don't learn how to unlearn them,
Right.
um, to unsee them.
Yeah.
And I look at we've we have been hearing trash and garbage, fake knowledge, fake, false knowledge, lies, misinformation. We've been hearing all of this stuff since really before we even came out of the womb, before we even knew what we were hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those things are with us, and it's everything that we are knowing and believing that is somehow coming together in pictures in us of who we are, where we're at, what other people are doing, what other people are thinking, what other people are saying,
Mm-hmm.
and we create these realities in our mind
Mm-hmm.
that could be true, but I guarantee you, every one of us all day long are making realities appear in our minds that's not what everybody else sees. That's not what anybody else sees.
Yeah.
Um, and you go into a room and you see some people over in a corner, and they all look at you, and then they look away, and now you want to know what they're talking about and what they're thinking about you. And
Mm-hmm.
all they did was look at you because they saw you come in, and now they're talking about their. But no, I know they're talking about me. What are they saying about me? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it, we're creating these realities. Well, when I was a kid, there was a phrase or a term that was um, used a lot: psychosomatic illness.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, now this was 60, 70 years ago, um, and we talked about psychosomatic illness. People made themselves sick.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter-in-law had a very, very good friend for many, many years who was sick all of those years, but there was nothing wrong with her,
Right.
but she was sick, and she got more and more and more sick, and the the things did begin to go wrong with her body, but they couldn't explain it. Nobody understood what was going wrong with her because she was perfectly healthy. Yet, because of what was in her mind, she was making her mother was helping. Her mother was really behind all of this,
Mm-hmm.
making her dependent on mom for everything. And she and her mom were codependent in a way that was disgusting. It was terrible. And this was a beautiful young lady. I mean, she was gorgeous and very, oh, just wonderful. And she's getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker for years and years. And we knew about her many years ago and had gotten to know her a little bit, and she just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And then year before last, she died. She just died.
Hmm.
They don't even know what was wrong with her. She just died.
Whoa.
She made herself sick. And that she made herself sick. I don't even want to go into all the psychology of that. It's just the fact is she made herself sick, and it was all up here. And it got
Mm-hmm.
worse and worse and worse and worse. It was terrible. Um, there's a lot of truth about that psychosomatic. It was all in their mind.
Yeah.
And frankly, I've thought for years about the fact that the power of our minds is immense, that our minds enable us to create the things that we create.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come by magic.
Mhm.
We're creators. We were born creators. We're made creators, just like our Father, and we can create anything. And all that's happened is that we've taken all of this fake knowledge, this false knowledge, these lies, these terrible things that we've been told, we've taken into ourselves over the years, and literally have used all of that to become who we think we are and act like who we think we should act like.
Mhm.
And we are living lives that are not the life that God gave us. They're not, we're God said, Jesus said that God had given us the rain, in not that he's going to give us the rain. He said he had given us the rain. That's what the Greek says.
Mhm.
And we have the ability to do things that we don't realize we can do. Even though we don't realize we can do things, we're already using this tremendous power that we have right now. We're using it all the time. And we're using it because we haven't been trained, we haven't been taught, we don't know the truth. We're so often using all of this knowledge that we have, that much of it is incorrect. We're using it to create this world that's around us. We're creating our own reality inside this world that's around us. And our own realities are often full of sickness. They're full of disease. They're full of pain. They're full of suffering. They're full of us causing harm. Thus, they're full of us being harmed because we don't understand the tremendous power, the tremendous ability. Power is not even the word, it's the ability, the tremendous ability that we all have in this world right now. And we're just like God. And because we don't understand ourselves and we don't understand the truth, we don't know the truth, we know what we've been taught and are sure is true when much of it isn't.
Mhm.
We're living these lives that are, they're upside down. And so we're making ourselves sick
Mhm.
when we're not sick. God says, you're healed.
Mhm.
Okay? Is God honest or dishonest? Does he tell the truth or does he not tell the truth? Answer the question. That's what I tell people. Did
Mhm.
God says you're healed? Is he a liar or not? Well, they've got a reason why what God said isn't what he meant. He meant something else,
Mhm.
you know? And it's like, no, we whatever God said, that's the truth. So we have to understand that everything that we are experiencing that isn't consistent with what God said is an illusion. It's an illusion that is very, very real. It's
Mhm.
real enough that somebody with a gun in that illusion could shoot you and you die. But what
Mhm.
happens to you? When you die, you wake up. Here you are.
Mhm.
You were here all along. I remember the dwarves in C.S. Lewis's the
Narnia.
Chronicles of Narnia,
Yeah.
the very last book. Uh, the name slips my mind at the moment. At
Last
the end, there were
Battle.
the dwarves.
Is it the
Pardon?
Last Battle?
The last battle,
Yeah.
yeah. The dwarves. Everybody at the very end is going through the stable door into heaven. All of them, everybody, the good, the bad, the evil, everybody is going through the stable door. This is C.S. Lewis's vision,
Yeah.
going into heaven. And the dwarves, who are a bunch of people who are only interested in themselves and what they want and what they believe, and that they don't care about anybody else. The dwarves are for the dwarves. And the dwarves, they're miserable, miserable, miserable people. And they go through the stable door and now they've entered into heaven. But instead of taking in what is real, they all go over and get together in a little huddle on the grass and start you talking about how miserable everything is, how terrible everything is. Oh, life is terrible. And it's amazing that C.S. Lewis saw this, is that we take that people talk about hell. I personally believe that everybody has a hell and their own hell. God doesn't need to create a hell. He never created a hell. There is no general hell where people go. People have their own hell and they go from this world into heaven where they're already at. Already, they just can't see it,
Mhm.
but they take their hell with them. we can carry our hell into heaven, and we'll be in hell, but it'll be heaven, it'll be hell that's in heaven.
Mm,
And all we have to do to get out of our hell is to believe the truth.
mm,
Once you believe what God believes, all of a sudden, all the hell that you're living disappears
mm,
because you realize that it's all a lie. It's
mhm,
not true. It's not real because God has done what he said he was going to do. God has never failed to do what he said he was going to do. And it's most of the Christians now, and most people that believe anything about heaven and anything about God, they believe that eventually God is going to do it. God is going to come and fix it. God is going to come and save us. God is going to come and heal us and all these things. And it's like, no, don't you understand? He's already done it.
mm,
He's not. He's a good father. He's a father who loves us. And when you love somebody, you never withhold what they need if it's in your power to give it to them.
mhm,
Now, if it's not in your power, if you got two parents and they've got a little boy or a little girl that's immensely sick, you know, they'll do anything to save or deliver their child from the sickness.
mhm,
Um, but if they, but just think about this: would these parents, if they had the means and the ability to heal their child from whatever is wrong with them, and they said, "Okay, we're going to heal you, but only after you've done the right things, then we'll heal you."
mhm.
Is that love?
Right. No way.
Is that love? I
No.
mean, does love say, well, I have the means and the ability to save you and deliver you right now, but I'm not. I go ahead and suffer for a while. Is that what love does?
Right.
I can tell you, parents, they want their child healed now, and they'll do anything, including giving their lives for their child to be healed.
Mhm,
And God's not that way? You mean God created better parents than he is? Because he
mhm,
creates humans that will give their life for their children. But God, no, 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 no. I gave my son for you on the cross. That's all I'm going to do.
mhm,
Well, really? So God has the power and the ability to heal me right now, but but he's going to wait until the right time,
mm,
or he's going to wait till he comes back again. Because you see, the first time that Jesus came, he didn't finish the job. He didn't what the Jews thought he was going to do. God didn't do it. Jesus couldn't finish it.
right.
So Jesus has got to come back a second time because the first time didn't work.
Right.
Okay, and that's what we're dealing with. We've got a God who has the ability, he can do anything he wants, but he doesn't really want to heal me right now. But he will, and after I die, then he'll heal me. And
Mhm.
I just, oh, Lee, I just, I don't think you can repeat this to anybody.
You you absolutely can. You absolutely can. N- You know what I thought of because you brought up the guy with the on the street corner, the
Yeah,
schizophrenic PTSD survivor, veteran, or any number of, drug addict, whatever, alcoholic ends up begging for change or whatever. I remember you telling me 6 or 8 years ago the difference between us and them is that they know they're hearing voices.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did. And it was such a profound, they're easy to spot. They're the nuts on the corner that something's wrong. And we're
Yeah.
not. We're the normal, sane ones. And they're not in a war where somebody's shooting at them and they think they are and they're just out of their head because of that. And there's and people don't realize that they're doing and living and feeling and believing the exact same way. They're not
Yes.
different than that guy. They're not living on the street, they're living in a house and they're not asking somebody for money to get food. They're working at a job where somebody gives them money to give them food. but they're not
They had different input.
just different
They,
input. Yeah, and theirs is golly, it's almost tragic that the PTSD or delusions that most of us live with are so much more subtle.
yeah,
Theirs are wildly obvious.
yeah,
They're talking to themselves and jumping at they they think there's something there that nobody else can see, and we go, oh my goodness, that poor guy thinks there's something there that nobody else can see that's going to get him. I'm so glad that I don't have that, except for I think when I go to work I'm going to get fired because my boss hates me and my friends don't really like me even though they say they do. But that poor guy's delusional. I'm seeing it clear. My friends really don't like me, and my boss really doesn't like me, and people really do hate me, and they're the worst anyway. So I don't care because they're who I think they are, and I see that very clearly and plainly. I see everything very
yeah,
clearly and plainly and obviously and truthfully. But that poor guy on the corner, he doesn't. He's seeing crazy stuff. I'm seeing normal stuff, and it's
yeah,
almost worse in a way
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
so subtle and nobody puts us in institutions for it. But man, we're all doing it. We're all seeing it, just
Wow.
like that guy.
Yep. Spot on, man.
Yeah, well, that
And
was
I
you.
just, I'm all the things that I talk about. I know the same for you. All the things that I talk about that I see, um, I need those things. Everything that I talk about, I need to know more than anybody else, including you, as far as I'm concerned. I'm the one that needs this stuff.
Oh,
I love talking about it and sharing it with people.
yeah,
The fact that you and I years ago got to sit down and start talking about these things. You thought it was great. You loved it. Well,
yeah,
I did too. There
yeah,
was a chance for me to talk about these things that are so important to me to someone who actually was interested.
yeah.
Now, you were interested for a different reason than I was, in a sense.
Sure.
I mean, I had never met anybody who God had said, everything you believe is wrong. I mean, to me, that was off the charts.
Yeah,
But whatever God said to you, it created in you a hunger
yeah,
that there's something more, and I don't know what it is. But if you've gotten me to the point where I now accept that everything I believe is wrong, then you've got to be the one to get me to start hearing what's going to replace everything, because now I'm empty. I'm a vessel and I'm empty and I don't know what to do.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I kind of went through the same thing, but for me, it was that the day came when I said, God didn't tell me, and yet it was Him doing it in me.
yeah.
I said to myself, everything I believe is wrong.
Mm,
Everything I believe is screwed up.
mm,
I have no idea what the truth is.
mm.
But and same result for me. I started exploring these things, but it was scary for me. To
Yeah,
these things we're talking about now, this was scary for me back then, because I
mm,
had never heard anybody talk about some of these things,
yeah,
and some of the things that I know we're going to talk about eventually, uh, that they're so much beyond what you and I are discussing right now.
yeah,
But you have to build a foundation. I had to build a foundation, and piece
yeah.
by piece by piece by piece by piece, I was learning these things, and
It
and
is.
begin to multiply.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle. I mean, and it's so funny. I think you're right. The foundation, and that's, yeah, I won't argue with that. I think also it's like a puzzle because we already have all the pieces. And we just got,
Everybody does.
yeah, everybody does. And we just got,
Everybody knows this stuff. They just don't know what they know.
right. And we've got to rearrange those pieces a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then stuff just starts falling into place with it too. So it could be You start at the end and work your way backwards, or you start at the beginning and work your way forwards, or you start in the middle and you work your way out both ways, or whatever. But excuse me.
Yeah.
It yeah, that's how that's God is he's such a good dad. It's like we've said, like I have, I've got 3 kids, and my wife has 4 kids, and not a two are alike. And they all need different stuff at different times. And if you're hard on this one, then they shut down. And if you're hard on this one, then it brings them up and they rise to the occasion or whatever. And God is that dad that can spot every single one of us and how we learn and what we're like, because he made us and knows us. And so he's got the perfect idea about how to get us to where we can go. And oof, it's hard sometimes too, though. He's not bad at it, but it's just like one of my boys, I said, "Don't touch that stove, it's hot." And he was like,
Mhm.
"Gotcha. I don't want to get burned." And then another one, "Don't touch that stove, it's hot." And he went right up to it. "Oh, yeah? Psst, oh, found out the hard way. But I was telling them both the same stuff because I loved them both and wanted them both to do be safe, but they were different. And God knows that about us, and He's got different ways. So yeah, some of us start in the middle, some of us start at the over on this side and on that side, and but He's calling us all to the wholeness. So He'll get us there. He'll keep walking us.
I Something I think about a lot is Christ in us,
Mm,
Christ inside us.
hmm
The verse in Colossians is that Christ is our life,
hmm
and I realize that Jesus is the head, and He is living His life inside each one of us.
hmm
We don't have our own individual lives.
Yeah.
We have a life that is Christ's life. But the thing is, this came out of my mouth one day. I was sitting at breakfast with one of my sons and his friends, and I said that God is living His life in each one of us, unique to each one of us. So when God lives His life inside me as me, it's different than Him living His life inside Lee as Lee. And that's different than him living his life in your boys as them.
hmm
But we're in union with him, we're one. And the idea that God himself is united with me, we're one, but he is living, that finger is different from this finger and is different from this finger. That to me is so exciting that God just wants to teach me to be who I am. And he knows how to be who I am better than I do,
hmm
since he and I are one and he made me. I was born out of him. And I get so excited about where where does this go? What does this look like?
Yeah.
We just started.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm 2 years old,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can talk, but I'm sure God listens to me sometimes and laughs because
Right.
I'm trying so hard to say something and I can't say what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I've had it happen in this conversation with you just now. There's 2 or 3 times in the middle of the conversation I was trying to say something and I couldn't say it. I
Mhm.
didn't know. I didn't use the right words. I couldn't think of the right words,
Mhm.
and I just God just chuckles
Yeah.
because He knows He's going to teach me, and the way I'm going to learn is by listening,
Yeah.
by obeying,
Yeah.
because that's how you and I became who we are,
Mhm.
by what we heard and heard and heard and saw and saw and saw and thought and thought and thought, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and here we are today. Well, that's because God made us to work that way, and so I want to. I've listened to enough garbage in my 70 plus years.
Mhm.
I want to now just hear God. I
Yeah.
want to think about what God says.
Mm.
I want to obey Him.
Mhm.
And as I continue to do that, my life just keeps changing right in front of my eyes. I mean, I see the change, I feel the change, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've got. I mean, but I'm only 2 years old, 3 years old. That's the way I laugh about it.
Yeah.
I'm a kid. I
Yeah.
mean, in the New Testament, it talks a lot about little children,
Mm.
infants. Um, God doesn't look at any of us as teenagers.
Mm.
We are all babies. We are
Mhm.
infants. We are maybe a little more than infants. That's how much we. I mean, think about how much a 2 year old knows compared to what they're going to know when they're 70. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a volume, and it's all going to be in this mind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm just 2 or 3 years old, and I'm going to live indefinitely.
Mm.
And how much can I learn between now and then? And how much different am I going to look and act and think way, way, way down the road when I've learned everything that God wants me to know?
Mm.
Because I believe He wants me to know everything He knows.
Mm.
I really do. I believe God wants me to know everything He knows and be able to do everything He can do.
Mhm. Just like a good dad.
Yep.
You want your kids to know, or a good mom.
That's
Here's
yes.
how we cook and clean and fix things and spend our money and everything. Love each other and face challenges and everything. And you want them to have all the best tools of everything all the time.
We've we have to learn who we are and learn who God is and learn all the things He wants to teach us, because I believe that there's something that is so wonderful after this first phase or first stage of life
Oh,
in God's reign.
yeah,
And honestly, I can't imagine. I mean, I do have some imaginations of what it is,
yeah,
but that's forever.
yeah.